This is Congressman Lee Zeldin at the AIPAC Policy Conference, and you're watching Rabbi Doug.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight. But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're going to watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're going to see Rabbi Doug. Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. We're here at AIPAC 2020 here at the Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C. And I'm here once again starting the show with Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. Shmuley, what just happened here before we went on the air is unbelievable. Your son Mendy is putting tefillin on people, doing mitzvot with people, and all of a sudden he is surrounded by 7 or 8 security people threatening him, and then they come over to you as his father threatening you. It's unbelievable.
Me too, yeah. And I wasn't even doing the mitzvah of putting on tefillin with people. I wish I was. My son is more virtuous than me. That was unbelievable. You know, I know that when I travel to Europe, people tell me don't wear a yarmulke because you could get harassed. When I do my pro-Israel activism around the country, people tell me I need security to protect myself from potential adversaries who want to do me harm. But at AIPAC, which I love, and whose policy conference I've been coming to for decades, I never expected to be harassed and threatened with security for my son putting tefillin on with people.
It's unbelievable. And security wouldn't even tell you who they were.
You witnessed it. No one would believe it.
I got video. I'm going to show some video of it.
Hi, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach at the AIPAC conference. AIPAC security stopped my son from putting on tefillin. This man won't give me his name. His name is Josh something. And now he's walking away. What did I do wrong, sir? Sir, what did we do wrong? I was wondering, what did we do wrong?
I didn't say you did
anything.
anything.
Is there a reason he won't give me his name? He says he's AIPAC security. I want to verify. Can I please have his name?
I don't know, quite frankly.
He walked over to me in an intimidating manner, trying to intimidate me, but I won't be intimidated. I just want to know.
So I walked over and asked if I could take a picture.
And you didn't say why. You said, I'll take it to the next level. You're trying to intimidate me. What is your name? My name's Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. This is on my Facebook
Josh.
Live. Josh what?
My name is Josh.
Why won't you give me your name? If you're not doing anything wrong, you should please give me your name. That's mine. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. What is yours, please?
Josh.
Why will you not give me your last name? Does he have a superior here? I don't know why he wants to give his name. If someone comes over to intimidate me, I'm a Jewish person at a Jewish conference on Israel. If someone is intimidating me, I would like to know their name.
Can I speak with you?
Only once I get his name. I would like to know his name.
My name is
I'm
Josh.
What is your last name? Don't intimidate me, sir. I've done nothing wrong. I wear a yarmulke. I'm Jewish. Jews are persecuted enough. Don't persecute me in AIPAC.
I'm a Jew as well.
Well, then show me your name.
It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Security won't give me his name. He was trying to intimidate me. Look, I'm not, thank God I'm not easily intimidated. I'm no hero, but I am a Jew who lives a very public Jewish life, and I have faced many people who would like to do me harm. I just never expected to.
In AIPAC.
Yeah, I never expected it here. But I'm not going to be intimidated, and I'm proud of my son for asking people very respectfully if they would like to put on tefillin. And we love Israel, and we love the Torah of Israel, and we love the identity of the Jewish people in Israel. And it's those things that come together that coalesce to create an impenetrable Jewish identity. So I'm proud of my son for not just coming here to socialize, etc. That's very important as well, but taking advantage of putting tefillin on with people and giving people an opportunity to bind themselves and tie themselves to God's eternal commandments.
It's a beautiful thing. Tell me, what's Rabbi Shmuley Boteach's newest book?
I just wrote a book called Holocaust Holiday, One Family's Descent into Genocide, Memory, Hell. And it chronicles the 3 months of taking my children, my family, to the extermination fields of Europe. To
Which, by the way, I've seen live on your Facebook Live before, while you were there.
So it's been written up into a book. And it's a painful book. It was painful to write. It'll be painful to read, but it's riveting, it's moving, and it's extremely important.
Very good. Well, I can't thank you enough for being on the show once again this year. Much success continued in your television, in your writing, in your spreading the word of God, of Israel, and the Jewish people, and the importance of anti-Semitism to be wiped out completely. And that's why we're all here at AIPAC, right?
And let me also be clear. No one believes in religious coercion, God forbid. I am the biggest, most outspoken critic of any kind of religious coercion.
I agree.
But giving people the choice for religious opportunities to connect themselves with Yiddishkeit, with Judaism. And AIPAC, thank God, is doing so much more of that, offering the Shabbaton, which is about only 5 years old, and Minyanim, and the opportunity to support Israel and affirm our Jewishness at the same time, because they are inextricably connected and they are inextricably linked. Thank you, Rabbi Doug.
Very nice. We're here at AIPAC 20 with Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. Stay with us. We'll be back.
God bless you.
I'm Senator Bob Menendez, and you're watching Rabbi Doug. AIPAC President Betsy Berns Korn.
Our next guest has a deep and personal relationship with Israel and with AIPAC. In words and deed, Vice President Pence has consistently revealed his love for Israel and his commitment to her security. Because of his belief in the importance of the U.S.-Israel relationship, Vice President Pence has made it a priority to speak at every single policy conference since he became Vice President. We are greatly appreciative of all that the Trump administration has done to advance the U.S.-Israel relationship since the last time we met. Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Issuing an executive order to protect pro-Israel students on American college campuses. Defending Israel from outrageous assaults at the UN. Implementing dozens of new sanctions against Iran and terrorist proxies. Taking out the terrorist mastermind behind Iran's campaign against America. And releasing a peace proposal that was developed in consultation with the leaders of Israel's two major political parties. Mr. Vice President, on behalf of AIPAC and its leadership, let me say thank you. Thank you to you and to President Trump for these and many other steps you have taken to deepen America's partnership with our steadfast ally, the State of Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a true friend of Israel and AIPAC, the Vice President of the United States.
Congress, Israeli ministers, members of the Knesset, especially to all my fellow Americans who have come here today from near and far. It is great to be back at AIPAC, the largest gathering of friends of Israel anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you all for that warm welcome. And how about another round of applause for the team that put this extraordinary 2020 policy conference together. Betsy, Korn, and the core of AIPAC, my friend Howard Korn.
Yeah.
Great to be with you all. great to be here with so many college students from around the country. If any of you get in trouble with your professor for skipping class, just tell them you were here in Washington protesting. But tell them you weren't protesting against Israel, you were protesting in your nation's capital for Israel. But good to be with so many friends. And speaking of friends, allow me to bring greetings from another friend of mine. Friend of the Jewish people and the state of Israel ever to sit in the Oval Office of the White House. I bring greetings from the 45th President of the United States of America, President Mike Pence. We gather today from all across our nation to celebrate a relationship that has never been stronger. But we also gather at a time of concern for millions of Americans as our nation deals with the impact of the coronavirus. So allow me to address that for just a moment. First, to be clear, President Donald Trump has no higher priority than the health and safety of the American people. Last month, following word of the outbreak of the coronavirus in China, our president took unprecedented action to protect the health of Americans. He declared a public health emergency. We suspended all travel to the United States from China, and we initiated an unprecedented quarantine efforts for Americans that were returning, even as the President established the White House Coronavirus Task Force, which has literally met every single day since. The President has directed me to lead a whole-of-government approach to address the coronavirus in this country, and we are doing just that. While the risk to the American public remains low, as the President said last week, you can be assured we're ready for anything. As of today, we have 43 cases that have been detected in the United States and another 48 cases among Americans who have been repatriated from China. The vast majority of Americans who have contracted the virus, I'm pleased to report, are recovering and doing well. But several patients remain hospitalized, and sadly, the American people learned this morning that another coronavirus patient, a man with underlying health conditions, has passed away, and we send our deepest condolences to his family. I would encourage all of you gathered here today to keep in your prayers all of those impacted by this disease across our country and around the world. And here at home, also keep in your hearts and prayers the extraordinary healthcare providers that serve this nation every day. We're all in this together. It's always a good idea to practice common sense to protect your health, the health of your family, but especially so today. But I want to assure you, at President Trump's direction, we will continue to bring the full resources of the federal government to bear to protect the American people, and we will always put the health and safety of America first. Thank you. As President Trump declared in his historic visit to Jerusalem, as evidenced again here today, the bond between our two peoples is woven together in the fabric of our hearts, and so it shall always be. Under this president, if the world knows nothing else, the world knows this: America stands with Israel. In January, it was my great honor behalf of the President of the American people, to address a ceremony in Jerusalem marking the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. We pay tribute, along with more than 50 countries, to the 6 million Jews who died in the Holocaust, in what President Trump rightly called the dark stain on human history, the greatest evil ever perpetrated by man against man in the long catalog of human crime. But just as we honored the dead, we also honored the faith and resilience of the Jewish people, who just 3 years after walking in the valley of the shadow of death, rose up from those ashes to reclaim a Jewish future and rebuild a Jewish state. And I'm proud to say, as Vice President of the United States, the American people have been with them every step of the way since 1948. We stand with Israel today for the same reasons the American people have always stood with it. We stand with Israel because her cause is our cause. Her values are our values. Her fight is our fight. We stand with Israel because we believe in right over wrong, in good over evil, in liberty over tyranny. And we stand with Israel because we cherish that ancient promise that Americans have always cherished throughout our history, that those who bless her will be blessed. President Trump promised the United States would ensure that Israel would always have the resources and tools she needed to defend herself by herself. Today, I'm proud to report that American support for the security of the State of Israel is greater than ever before, and the State of Israel is stronger than ever before in its history. President Trump has also taken one action after another to evidence our support for Israel. This president promised to shut down the PLO office in Washington if the Palestinian Authority did not take immediate steps to stop funding terrorists who murder innocent Israeli civilians. And when the PLO did not act, President Trump shut it down. Today, the Taylor Force Act is the law of the land. This president also promised that America would no longer allow the United Nations to be a forum for invective against Israel. And this president delivered when he withdrew the United States from the so-called Human Rights Council at the UN and ended all U.S. contributions to UNRWA.
Every word.
Our administration will never tolerate the suppression, persecution, or silencing of the Jewish people. We've stood up to anti-Semitism on the world stage, and we've stood up to it here at home as well. Last December, President Trump signed the strongest executive order ever written to fight anti-Semitism when he banned taxpayer dollars from any institution of higher education that traffics in anti-Semitic hate. Our message to American colleges and universities is, if you want billions of dollars in taxpayer support, reject anti-Semitism and reject it now. President Trump has repeatedly done what no American president before him had the courage to do. Like when he recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Like when he rejected half a century of the peace process dogma and proclaim that Israeli civilian settlements in the West Bank are not illegal. And as I had the joy of seeing firsthand just a few short weeks ago when I visited Israel in January, had the honor to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu at the new American embassy in Jerusalem. And just 5 weeks ago, President Trump also released his vision for peace, prosperity, and a brighter future for Israelis and Palestinians. It is the most serious, realistic, and detailed plan ever presented, and one that could make Israelis and Palestinians in the region safer and more prosperous. The American people have always prayed for the peace in Jerusalem, and so we will continue to do. We believe our vision provides the very basis for historic progress toward true and lasting peace. Under President Trump's plan, Israel will not have to take any additional security risk. Not a single Israeli will be uprooted from their home, and Jerusalem will remain the united, recognized capital of the state. Peace will require compromise, but I promise you, America will never compromise the safety and security of the Jewish state of Israel. So we've been standing with our most cherished ally, and we've been standing up to our enemies. The last administration was sending pallets of cash to terrorists in Iran. This president has taken the fight to radical Islamic terrorists on our terms, on their soil. Last year, American forces captured the last inch of territory beneath the ISIS-flagged caliphate, and last fall, American special forces took down their leader without one American casualty. Stormed our embassy in Baghdad on New Year's Eve. This president sent in the Marines.
Yeah.
Said no more Benghazi.
Yeah.
When American lives were threatened by the most dangerous terrorist in the world, President Donald Trump took action, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. Now, you all deserve to know that every one of the leading Democrats running for president criticized President Trump's decision to take out Soleimani. Bernie Sanders even called the president's decision to take out Soleimani, in his words, quote, assassinating a government official. Well, I've got news for Bernie Sanders. Soleimani was not some government official. He was a terrorist. And President Trump was right to take him down. The United States of America is proud to stand with Israel and her people as cherished allies and friends. Providence entrusted the United States to be the guardian of liberty, and that is a trust we will never forsake. Ladies and gentlemen, Israel and the United States will always stand together. Because America and Israel are more than friends. We're more than partners or allies. My friends, the United States and Israel are family.
Yeah.
We're a family descended from a common tradition. We're a family that upholds common values. And together our family shares a common destiny. The American-Israeli alliance is stronger than ever before. Our friendship is greater than ever before. And our future is brighter than ever before. And so we say to all of those gathered here, all who cherish Israel, the people of Israel, the famous words of that priestly blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his countenance shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May all your ways be paths of peace. With the unwavering support of all of you, and all who call these two great nations home, with the leadership of President Donald Trump, and with God's help, I know the best days for Israel and the United States of America are yet to come. Thank you.
We're here on Tape with Rabbi Doug at AIPAC 20, and I'm here with Daniel West Cohen. He is one of the people representing combat anti-Semitism movement. Now, obviously, there are a lot of movements that are out combating anti-Semitism, and you can see on the board behind us here a number of groups that do just that. What is the whole idea of this organization and a coalition? Are these people members? Are you members of them? How does it work?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, Rabbi Doug. We're actually a coalition organization of over 200 NGOs, all dedicated to combating anti-Semitism. What makes us unique is that we have NGOs from all walks of life. We have Jewish organizations, Christian organizations, Muslim organizations, all dedicated to one thing, which is combating anti-Semitism. What you might not like to know about our organization is that we share resources, information, content, and moral support. That's what makes our coalition unlike any other.
So tell me, how is the work that you're doing different from the work that these individual organizations are doing?
Well, as a coalition, we're essentially highlighting the work of our other organizations. We realize that too many organizations kind of stay in their own lane or work in the echo chamber, that we need to band together on common issues to widen the table and widen the table.
Very nice, very nice. So I wish you much success on this very, very important endeavor, which is close to all our hearts. And Combat Anti-Semitism, the organization, which is a coalition of so many other Jewish organizations which are working to combat this terrible anti-Semitic movement that's going on in the world today. And stay with us here at AIPAC 20 on Tape with Rabbi Doug. We'll be back. Well, that's it for part one here at AIPAC 2020. I want to thank you all for being with us, especially my friend Rabbi Shmuley Boteach for opening up the show with us. Remember, you can check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com, where you can also see former shows on the web and former visits to the AIPAC conference in past years as well. If you want to email us, the email address is info@tvrabbi.com. You won't want to miss part two here at AIPAC 2020 next time, so stay with us here every week on Tape with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone.
This has been a Tape with Rabbi Doug production.